They seemed like the perfect couple, charming, attractive, and magnetic to everyone around them. But behind closed doors, their love story hid a dark and twisted secret. How could two people, bound by passion, descend into a world of manipulation, obsession, and terror? That's the question that shocked a nation and still fascinates true crime fans decades later. This isn't just a story about crime. It's a story about the dangerous power of control, the psychology of influence, and how love can sometimes mask the most chilling acts imaginable. And what makes it even more disturbing? On the surface, Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo were ordinary. Neighbors, classmates, people you might trust without a second thought. But the truth lurking behind their smiles was anything but ordinary. And the story of how they became infamously known as the Ken and Barbie killers is more twisted than anyone could have imagined. Paul Bernardo's story didn't start with charm. It started with control. Growing up in Ontario, he showed early signs of aggression and a disturbing fascination with dominance. Teachers and neighbors noticed he was different, but no one could have predicted the path he would take. He was smart, calculating, and learned to mask his darker impulses behind a friendly, seemingly normal exterior. Carla Homolka, on the other hand, appeared ordinary at first glance. From a middle-class family, she was seen as sweet and unassuming, someone who could easily gain trust. But subtle hints of manipulation and a desire to get her way began to show in small but telling ways. When Paul and Carla met, it seemed like fate, or maybe a perfect storm. They were instantly drawn to each other, intrigued by one another's intensity. What started as flirtation quickly deepened into a bond fueled by shared fantasies and a mutual fascination with power and control. Friends described them as inseparable, two sides of a coin. But behind closed doors, their relationship was already showing dangerous signs. And just when it seemed like they were just another young couple in love, the darker tendencies that each had kept hidden were about to collide, and what happened next would shock everyone who thought they knew them. The early signs of trouble didn't stay hidden for long. Paul's controlling nature became more intense, and Carla's willingness to go along, or even encourage, his impulses turned their bond into something far darker. Together, they began experimenting with power and manipulation, testing boundaries that most people would never dare to cross. It started with small, secretive acts, things that seemed almost harmless to outsiders, but they quickly escalated. Reports suggest that Paul's obsessions grew more dangerous, while Carla's complicity deepened. The couple created a twisted partnership where desire, fear, and loyalty became entangled in ways that outsiders could never fully understand. Friends and family noticed the subtle shifts. Carla growing more withdrawn, Paul increasingly controlling. Psychologists later described their dynamic as a terrifying combination of charisma and coercion. Paul had an uncanny ability to charm and manipulate, drawing people in, while Carla's presence often made his darkest impulses easier to act on. Together, they created a private world where rules, morality, and empathy no longer applied. And the stage was set for what would become one of the most infamous criminal partnerships in history. And just when it seemed like the danger was contained to whispers and secretive behavior, the acts they committed next would shock everyone and capture the attention of an entire nation. What followed was a chilling escalation that no one could ignore. Paul and Carla's actions moved from private fantasies into reality, targeting victims who became pawns in their twisted games. The details are horrifying, yet what's even more disturbing is how ordinary they seemed in public. Friendly neighbors, smiling at school events, blending into everyday life. Paul's obsession with control and dominance became frighteningly real, while Carla's involvement showed a complex mix of fear, loyalty, and active participation. Reports suggest that she sometimes encouraged his behavior, and other times went along to protect herself or maintain their twisted bond. Together, they created a pattern of manipulation and coercion that kept their secrets hidden from the outside world. The planning and execution of their acts were calculated, showing a disturbing blend of cunning and callousness. Even after the first incidents, the couple continued, seemingly unafraid of consequences, relying on charm and deceit to mask the darkness behind closed doors. Public fascination grew only after authorities began piecing together the evidence, a timeline of deceit, control, and cruelty that no one could have predicted. And while the crimes themselves shocked a nation, it was the unraveling of their relationship under pressure that revealed even deeper layers of manipulation and would eventually lead investigators closer to the truth. The secrets Paul and Carla had carefully hidden began to unravel when investigators noticed patterns that couldn't be ignored. Tips, evidence, and inconsistencies in their stories slowly painted a picture far darker than anyone had imagined. Authorities began connecting the dots, uncovering a trail of manipulation, coercion, and fear that had been carefully concealed behind their charming facades. Carla's role in the investigation became a lightning rod for public attention. Her cooperation with authorities, including a controversial plea deal, sparked outrage and fascination alike. Many struggled to understand how someone so young and seemingly ordinary could have been involved in such horrifying acts, and why the justice system chose the path it did. As police dug deeper, the psychological grip Paul held over Carla and the twisted dynamics of their relationship became increasingly clear. It was a partnership built on fear, manipulation, and shared obsession, one that had gone unnoticed for far too long. The public, meanwhile, watched in disbelief as headlines revealed the depth of the crimes, and the trial that followed promised to expose secrets no one expected. And what unfolded in the courtroom would not only shock the nation, but also raise questions about morality, responsibility, and the terrifying power of influence within a relationship. The courtroom became the stage for one of Canada's most controversial trials. Paul Bernardo faced the full weight of justice, with evidence piling up and testimonies painting a chilling picture of his crimes. Meanwhile, Carla Homolka's plea deal sent shockwaves through the public. Many couldn't understand how someone involved in such acts could receive a lighter sentence. During the proceedings, the twisted dynamics of their relationship came under intense scrutiny. Experts described a pattern of manipulation, coercion, and fear, showing how Paul's dominance and Carla's complicity had created a dangerous partnership. Every testimony revealed more about the chilling influence they had over each other, and the court became a window into a relationship built on control and obsession. Public reaction was fierce. Outrage over the plea bargain sparked debates about morality, justice, and accountability. Media coverage amplified the fascination, with discussions about how ordinary people could commit extraordinary acts of cruelty together. Even after the verdicts, questions lingered. Who was truly responsible? How much of Carla's involvement was fear, loyalty, or active participation? And perhaps most haunting of all, how could a relationship that seemed so normal on the outside hide such darkness within? After the trials, life for both Paul and Carla took very different paths, but the shadow of their crimes never disappeared. Paul Bernardo remains in prison, a constant reminder of the fear and horror he caused. Reports describe him as largely unrepentant, still exhibiting the same controlling tendencies that marked his early life, and his name continues to evoke dread across Canada. Carla Homolka, released after serving her sentence, faced a world that never forgot. Public scrutiny followed her every move. Media coverage, interviews, and even her attempts to live a quiet life were met with suspicion and outrage. Many debated whether she had truly been a victim of manipulation or an active participant in one of Canada's most infamous crime sprees. Psychologists continue to analyze their case, highlighting the dangers of coercion, manipulation, and toxic relationships. The Ken and Barbie killer's story is more than just a criminal tale. It's a cautionary example of how charm can mask cruelty, and how ordinary people can become complicit in extraordinary evil. Even decades later, the fascination endures. The story forces us to question how well we really know those closest to us, and whether love, loyalty, or fear can sometimes blur the lines between right and wrong. And while the crimes themselves shocked a nation, the lessons about human psychology, relationships, and the darkness that can hide behind smiles are the ones that continue to resonate most. As news of the crimes broke, the nation was captivated and horrified. Headlines screamed about the Ken and Barbie killers, turning Paul and Carla into infamous household names. Every detail, every rumor, and every court update was dissected endlessly. Public fascination mixed with outrage, and debates raged across communities. Could someone so seemingly normal commit such acts? And how did a young couple avoid detection for so long? The media played a major role in shaping public perception. Interviews, documentaries, and sensationalized coverage painted a dramatic portrait of the pair, often focusing on Carla's plea deal and Paul's unrepentant demeanor. Fans, critics, and psychologists alike debated endlessly online and in print. Rumors circulated about aspects of their relationship and hidden details of the crimes, some true, others speculative. But the effect was the same. The story stayed in the public eye, fueling fascination decades later. Even today, the case remains a reference point in discussions about crime, morality, and media sensationalism, showing how a single story can grip a nation and never let go. Looking back, the case offers chilling insight into human behavior. Psychologists emphasize the dangerous combination of charisma, manipulation, and coercion that Paul exerted, and how Carla's own choices, fears, and complicity created a toxic partnership. It's a stark reminder that abusive dynamics can be subtle, complex, and difficult to spot until it's too late. Experts also analyze how societal factors, peer perception, trust in appearances, and even media portrayal allowed their crimes to continue undetected for so long. The case teaches us about the warning signs of toxic relationships, the psychology of influence, and the potential for ordinary individuals to become part of something truly horrifying when manipulation and fear take root. For viewers, the lesson is unsettling but crucial. Charm and normalcy can mask darkness, and understanding the human mind may be the only way to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The story of Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka is more than a tale of crime. It's a haunting exploration of love, loyalty, and the darkness that can hide behind the most ordinary faces. Their actions shocked a nation, but the lessons go beyond the headlines. It forces us to question how well we truly know the people closest to us, and how fear, manipulation, and coercion can warp relationships in ways we might never expect. Even decades later, the case continues to fascinate, horrify, and teach. It reminds us that appearances can be deceiving, that charm can hide cruelty, and that understanding the human mind is crucial to recognizing danger before it escalates. So the next time you meet someone who seems perfect, or a relationship feels too intense, remember the story of the Ken and Barbie killers. Because sometimes the most shocking truths are the ones hidden behind a smile. If you found this story as chilling and fascinating as we did, make sure to subscribe to Couple of Crime for more deep dives into criminal cases where love and violence collide. Hit the like button to show your support, and leave a comment telling us which part of Paul and Carla's story shocked you the most. Or, if you've ever wondered how such couples operate behind closed doors. Don't forget to check out our other episodes, where we explore the twisted dynamics, motives, and secrets behind some of history's most notorious crime couples. Because here on Couple of Crime, we don't just tell the story. We uncover the dark truths hidden behind love, loyalty, and obsession.